So I assume by now you pretty much understand that there is a manga out there that features an enormous freaking waifu. Just an absolute behemoth. No shortage of a huge, humongous waifu. I'm talking about the manga called Chieri's Love is 8 meters tall. And 8 meters tall is... Actually, I don't know how that translates into American. That's approximately 26.24 feet tall. That's pretty big. I even looked up a thing what are 26 feet tall. One of them is the Buffalo River Bridge. The other thing is a 26 feet long ladder. Wow, what an amazing list. Wow, who would have thought 26 feet is 26 feet? Apparently the longest human poop is 26 feet long too. Oh my god. The Komodo dragon is 26 feet long. Regardless, this manga is more simplistic. It's about just a really enormous Gyaru woman and a childhood friend. And it's obviously romance, slice of life, school life, whatever you want to call it. Now, I was going to cover this when it was featured in a lot of memes, especially since, a lot of good things come from this, because the art is just phenomenal in this. And the author and artist of this is Mitogawa Wataru. You may know this person because they are the author of Susei no Gargantua. And if you saw that anime, oh Lord almighty, there was some spicy scenes in there, especially the belly dancing scene. Wowie, wow. Funnily enough, they all feature kind of guns and other things like that too. And then this guy was just like, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna feature a freaking enormous waifu. And that is exactly what he did. Get rid of all that other action and other things like that. I'm featuring just me and my fetish. And I can respect a man. This man really had a fetish. And I know Big Women is not too new. If you've watched Seven Deadly Sins, obviously there is Diane. She is a character that's in there, a giantess. But other than that, there really isn't any other giantess featuring thing out there. And this really surprisingly brought this to the forefront. And no, I'm not talking about the things that you typically see on DeviantArt there. There's a lot of giantess fetish stuff there too. My lord, there is too much of it there. But this one brings it in a much more compact and more wholesome way. A way that I'm like, okay, I can kind of respect this. Because it focuses more on hey, the romance side here, and also this girl coping with the fact that she is so absolutely enormous because obviously, she didn't come out of the womb 8 feet tall. Did I say 8 feet tall? Well, that could have been a possibility considering she's 8 meters tall now, which is enormous too. But no, she was a regular sized person. We'll get there when we get there. Apparently, she just grew up. So the particulars that I like about this series is the title really just strikes you immediately what this thing's going to be about. Bam! Small man, enormous whammon. Just boom, right there and in your face. That's what you get, man. She's huge. And then, the first page is I, Kotachi Yumeji, am trying to cope with a certain issue. Ah, crud, I forgot my eraser. Yume-chan, here you go. And that is, as this huge freaking giant girl support department eraser by this girl who is leaning over to the room, her booba just gushing through the absolute window over here. And what does she want in compensation for lending an eraser? 30 school lunches. Which, for a girl this size, she's gonna require a lot of food. Could you imagine trying to provide for this child? You would have to be a millionaire. There's no way you could possibly ever deal with this. Apparently, she's an 11th grader and the childhood friend. So, here's an actual manga where the childhood friend wins. Oh, thank the Lord. But anyway, long story short, she transferred to the school. She reunited with her childhood friend from long ago, and he explained that she was indeed very short before, but then she had a sudden growth spurt. I don't know about you, but how does a growth spurt like that happen and not cause some permanent damage to you? I don't really understand that, but this is magic in the manga fantasy setting. And they did kind of cover like the thing about her like actually being enormous and gathering a lot of press out here. Yes, if someone was that freaking enormous and a like Godzilla roaming about everywhere you go, yeah, I think you would get media attention constantly. But for whatever reason, people eventually got used to it and quieted down, and now she's just living thanks to the help of the government. I don't know about you, but I don't know about any government that would help you live. I think they would just want to take your living from you most of the time. Maybe the government helps supporting giant waifus. You know, maybe that's a government I can get behind. And so this man was assigned to her to basically help her get more accustomed to her new normal school life as best she could as an enormous waifu that has to hang outside of the classroom and her huge desk right there. I don't know how the purse straps is able to attach to the side of her huge desk there without breaking. They have to have some amazing material, whatever that's made of. And speaking of other things out there, this is where like the problems start coming to arise here and where the actual interesting bit happens. Besides, you know, of course, if you like big girls, I guess. And that's the fact that, you know, she's given these huge accessories that she has to do, but she's a bit of a klutz and she drops this huge phone and almost murders our professor and would have flattened this man. Oops. And it goes through all the stuff, Sharpies, pen case, lip balm, all this other stuff. It even goes through her clothes. And you get the little bit of fan service where, you know, this girl is not afraid to show a little bit more than usual. She's like, whatever, it's just a little bit of a tear there. You know, this girl's a bit free natured. She's a garu. This is the man's excuse for her to be like, whatever, I can show a little fan service. It's fine. But this is where it actually does get real, and it shows the people that would be interested in this kind of stuff literally right outside being like, yeah, show us the good stuff out here, trying to get some peek at the pantsuit because they would obviously be so easy to see. She's wearing like a mini skirt and she's 27 feet tall. These are people that I would 100% put my money on would be like stalking her, following her everywhere 24/7. All right, there are people who would stop at nothing to be with this kind of girl. But then of course she's like, you can't see anything because I'm wearing spats. This takes a very normal reaction from the boys where they're like, yeah. I don't know, it's just something silly there. Do they like him because they're government issues? No, man, boys will be boys. But of course, this takes a turn where the guy takes the white knight approach here and defends her by writing her freaking cell phone down and trying to crush all these other dudes to death. Get out of the way before I slam you and crush you to death. I mean, it's a rom-com or something out there. They're gonna take things like that not too seriously. And then of course, you know, she's like, you did that for me, thank you. And they're not very, you know, like confessing of their feelings. Like obviously they have feelings for one another, it's obvious. And this is where the artist's fetish really comes out, and she literally grabs the man by his waist and picks him up and is just like, thanks for saving me. And you know, you have this wholesome moment and things like that. Like, oh, I protected you when you were young and you were small, but now you're just big and I'll still protect you no matter what. You know, and you get these cute full art color things here. And that's what I really like to see. I love seeing these cute full arts in every single chapter. It's something that's very nice. It strikes with me because I can't tell you how many times I've been reading a manga and I've never known the actual protagonist's hair color. Some people weren't even sure what color Komi's hair was. They thought it was just directly black, but no, it's like a little bit of purple in there sometimes. Like, I don't know, man. That's the first chapter, you know, pretty typical, gets you introduced to the series about what to expect, but, you know, it goes on to some more good and funny slice of life things, and it gets better. Just an example of her just poking her head through the actual windowsill here saying, let's have lunch together. And she's so loud that the speech bubble goes through his ears, cartoon style. And there's like birds literally fluttering around right next to her. You see, there's a lot of like little details in the background and in the art that, you know, you wouldn't pick up unless you actually were looking for them. There's a lot of good details in here. And it's cute how she's like, come on, stay with me. And she's leaning on this side, literally taking up his entire room. Just as she's leaning on this side over here. It's like the cutest non-conventional way for this girl to flirt with you. Just her being so absolutely enormous. I don't know. This is its strong suit. You just don't see anything like this. They have fights, they run away and things like that, but she chases him around, causes a ruckus, lands from the ceiling, elbow drops, other things like that, causes cars to bounce up and down. You know, like some good action shots here and there. And then you get this terrifying scene of her, I found you reaching through a window. Yes, that would scare the crap out of me. Are you scared? Are you aroused? Are you scare-roused? I don't know how I feel about this. It gives me conflicting feelings. But, you know, this girl is really just not normal, and she follows the man into the boy's bathroom and chases him down, and one arm doesn't count as she reaches in. And it's like, oh, you saw my little boo-boos on my hands after reaching in. And the reason why she was trying to chase him down to have lunch is because, well, she tried to cook for him. Which I would imagine trying to cook a tiny little meal with her big, enormous hands would probably cause an issue out there, and it's cute to try and imagine her trying to, you know, cater to this small man. I don't know. I think it's cute. Where something so simple and easy would be for, you know, something for someone of a small stature to do, it would be a tremendous ordeal for her to do. It's really trying to factor in the fact that, yes, she's tall, but she's trying to lead a normal life. You know, you get it by now, but still being cute and silly at the same time while having some good fan service. So obviously this leads to like the classic feed me scene where you can't really feed her with the tiny little chopsticks and other like that. You get this cute little color spread. I just have to show the color spread. I don't know, man. There is something cute about this. I don't know why there's so much sweat dripping off of her from her chin there too. But you know what? Hey man, maybe you're into that. This man, he likes his fetish, okay? But the funny thing is, the punchline here is like, so how was it? Did you think you nailed the taste? And she's like, I couldn't really taste it. It's too small. Which, you know, makes sense. Can you really taste like a little drop on your tongue when you're that big? I don't know. I really don't know how that body of hers functions. All I know is I would just like to wake up to say an enormous girl saying you're going to be late, lying in her room as she pokes me awake. I don't know. Would you like to wake up to this thing looking at you? Maybe you weren't wearing any pants. She just barges in there. Is that allowed? The birds even come in to take a peek too? And, you know, at least she's kind of straightforward in what she does out here, because she's like, oh, that's the kind of underwear you wear, huh? And like, God, don't look. She really don't mind. She's straightforward. I like this kind of refreshing taste. She doesn't get embarrassed about the other things like that. It's nice. And so you have a nice trip onto school, walking with your friends, but you can't really walk with her because she's too enormous, so she lets you go on her shoulder. Instead of like the typical shoulder lolly that you have. You now have your shoulder love crush, man. I don't know, it's kind of silly. This chapter here just kind of showcases that she's absolutely strong, picking up an entire car by herself, having no issues walking ladies across, helping everybody that needs any help out there. It's good. And I mean, she really doesn't have any problem carrying this car around because she literally is picking up while looking at people like it's no big deal. But of course, you know, the author always has a way of inserting his fantasies in here. When she's chasing after a villain out there, the inevitable purse snatcher out there, she runs after him, drops the boy into her booba, and shaking it sweat. I can only imagine if this was animated, how this man would be flying about. I guess he'd probably be into it because there's a lot of good angles of her just jumping over just things like that. Great art of her smacking down, you know, and her being absolutely frightening as she's looking down at this guy. I would be pissing my pants if I saw this enormous woman chasing me down on my bike and running and jumping and things like that. I would give up. I wouldn't want anything to do with this. I bet you the author really wouldn't want to be put inside a giant girl's cleavage. I just have a feeling that that is mainly the purpose of this chapter. And what a chapter it was. This chapter just also shows that she's trying to grow up and she's trying to be a better person. She wants to help things out and doesn't want to rely on too much, but still wants to rely. And she's like, well, can you still stroke my hair? And you get these beautiful illustrations with like even the painted nails and her lying down like that. Like that's something incredible. That's making even someone like me jealous, and I would be terrified of this enormous behemoth of a woman still. And in the fact that, you know, his entire hand is just not even as big as her singular finger. And of course, it's kind of cute when he actually does try to go stroke, and she's like, nah, just kidding. Haha, you loser. You did not get your heart racing. And then she was actually completely flushed by this. So there's a bit of tsundere action out there. It's just cute. So yeah, I know a lot of you guys out there are slice of life fans out there. Want something that's a little bit different from the usual. And yeah, I know being a school rom-com is literally nothing new. There's been plenty of manga out there that feature one main protagonist and one main female protagonist and them having a love story, like Skilled Teaser, Komi, you know that one. There's a lot of rom-coms out there that are really nice and just feature just these two back and forth, but this is like another one. This is like another good one, and it's not quite like Nagatoro where she is the Gyaru, and of course, you know, there's a lot of flirting going on there. But she's not bullying him. Well, technically, I guess she is, but she's more just enormous while bullying him. So it's like a different flavor of Gyaru. And you may be asking, Noble, do you have a giantess fetish? Well, anyway, I would just like to see this, you know, be animated for reasons. And I want to see this manga succeed because it's very heartwarming. And I like it, and it makes me feel happy. Yeah, guys, go check it out. Go check out this enormous 8-meter tall waifu. She's great. It's a good read. Makes it feel happy. Is it like the next best thing in shonen? Probably not, but it's got some good meme potential, and that's what matters to me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want some more manga like recommendations, you know, I've done a few videos of those. Maybe leave a like button too to let me know that if you like this kind of content. Really helps the channel out, and maybe subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you beautiful sons of guns again next time.
Damn. That's a big bitch.